Before any court decides who is right, it must first answer whether it has the power to decide at all. Hello everyone, in this video we will break down three fundamental pillars of jurisdiction: territorial jurisdiction, pecuniary jurisdiction, subject matter jurisdiction. We will analyze them comparatively using statutory provisions, case law, and practical illustrations, mainly under Indian procedural law with brief global parallels. Territorial jurisdiction, meaning territorial jurisdiction answers where a case can be filed, a court can only exercise authority within its geographical limits. Statutory basis: India, under Code of Civil Procedure 1908, Section 16, suits relating to immovable property from Clause A to Clause E. Section 17, property situated in multiple jurisdictions. Section 18, uncertain territorial limits. Section 19, compensation for wrongs to a person or a movable property. Section 20, most important section, defendant resides or carries on business or cause of action arises wholly or partly. Pecuniary jurisdiction, meaning pecuniary jurisdiction deals with how much money that court is legally allowed to handle. No matter how strong the case is, a court cannot exceed its monetary limits. Statutory basis: Section 6 CPC, courts shall not try suits beyond their pecuniary limits. Limits are fixed by state laws and high court notifications. Subject matter jurisdiction, meaning subject matter jurisdiction concerns what type of dispute a court is legally competent to decide. This is the most rigid form of jurisdiction. Statutory and constitutional basis (CPC), civil courts try all civil matters unless barred. Article 323 capital A and 323 capital B in Constitution of India, creation of tribunals, special statutes confer exclusive jurisdiction. Now we will look into a very important landmark judgment of Supreme Court. Kiran Singh and others versus Chaman Paswan and others, 1954. Justice B.K. Mukherjee, Justice Vivan Bose and Justice Ghulam Hassan was there on the bench. Statutes involved in this case: Code of Civil Procedure 1908, Suits Valuation Act 1887. Can a decree passed by a court without jurisdiction be treated as valid? And what exactly amount to prejudice under Section 11 of the Suits Valuation Act? Today we break down one of the most cited Supreme Court judgments on pecuniary jurisdiction prejudice. This case is foundational for understanding jurisdictional defects and overvaluation and undervaluation, when a decree becomes a nullity, and what failure of justice really means. Facts of the case: the plaintiff filed a suit before the subordinate judge for recovery of possession of agricultural land, profits valued at Rs 2,950. The trial court dismissed the suit. The plaintiffs appealed to the district judge, appeal dismissed. Then they filed a second appeal before the Patna High Court. Now comes the twist. The High Court found that the suit had been undervalued. Correct valuation 9,980 rupees. If properly valued, the appeal should have gone directly to the High Court, not to the district court. So the plaintiffs argued the district court had no pecuniary jurisdiction. Therefore, its decree is void. A second appeal should be treated as a first appeal. Smart argument, technically sharp. Core legal issues. The Supreme Court had to decide, is a decree passed by a court lacking pecuniary jurisdiction automatically a nullity? What constitutes prejudice under Section 11 of the Suits Valuation Act? Can a party complain of prejudice when the valuation error was its own? Legal framework. Section 6 CPC, courts cannot try suits beyond their pecuniary limits. Section 21 CPC, objections to territorial or pecuniary jurisdiction must be taken at the earliest opportunity, show failure of justice. Section 99 CPC, decree shall not be reversed for procedural errors unless they affect merits. Section 11 Suits Valuation Act, appellate courts shall not entertain objections regarding valuation unless it affected jurisdiction and it prejudicially affected disposal on merits. All these provisions revolve around one idea: courts should not upset decision purely on technicalities unless injustice occurred. Supreme Court observations, very important. The court made a landmark statement: a defect of jurisdiction, whether territorial, pecuniary, or subject matter, strikes at the very authority of the court. And this is critical, in case of pecuniary and territorial jurisdiction, objections can be waived if no failure of justice occurred. Then the court clarified the meaning of prejudice. What is prejudice? Prejudice means the valuation error must have affected a decision on merits. It must have caused real injustice, not just procedural inconvenience, and most importantly, prejudice must be caused by the other party, not by the one's own act. In this case, the plaintiff themselves undervalued the suit. They received full hearing before the district court. No evidence showed injustice or improper adjudication, therefore, no failure of justice, no prejudice, no interference. Supreme Court judgment. The Supreme Court dismissed the appeal. It held the district court decree was valid. Undervaluation alone does not nullify proceedings. Jurisdictional objections based on valuation must show real prejudice. Now we will look into another important case. Case named Dhulabhai vs. State of Madhya Pradesh, year 1968, Constitutional Bench of Supreme Court of India. Core issue: when is the jurisdiction of civil courts barred by statute? The case involved assessment of tax under the Madhya Pradesh Sales Tax Act. The statute provided a special machinery, tribunal, and appellate authority. The question was, can a civil suit be filed challenging tax assessment when the statute provides a separate remedy? Supreme Court ruling. The court laid down 7 principles to determine when civil court jurisdiction is barred. The famous Dhulabai principles. If a statute gives finality to order of special tribunal, civil court jurisdiction is excluded if there is adequate remedy under the act. If there is an express bar, civil court cannot interfere. If there is no express bar, exclusion can still be implied from the scheme of the act. If the statutory authority acts without jurisdiction in violation of fundamental principles of judicial procedure, civil court jurisdiction may still be available. Where provisions are unconstitutional, civil court can intervene. If the statute does not provide adequate remedy, civil suits maintainable. Civil courts cannot examine correctness of assessment when the act provides complete machinery. Key takeaways from the case. Civil courts have wide jurisdiction, but it can be excluded expressly or by necessary implication. However, exclusion is not easily inferred. Why this case is important? It is a leading authority on bar of civil court jurisdiction, interpretation of special statutes, relationship between tribunals and civil courts. This case is still cited in tax matters, service matters, administrative law, tribunal jurisdiction, disputes, etc. Now we will do the comparison between 3 types of jurisdiction. Territorial, pecuniary, and subject matter jurisdiction differ on the basis of limits within which a court can exercise its authority. Territorial jurisdiction refers to the geographical limit of a court and determines where a suit can be filed as provided under Section 16 to Section 20 of the Code of Civil Procedure 1908. Pecuniary jurisdiction relates to the monetary value of the suit and determines where a court is competent to entertain a matter based on its financial limit as recognized under Section 6 CPC. In contrast, subject matter jurisdiction concerns the nature of dispute itself. Under Section 9 CPC, civil courts can try all civil matters unless expressly or impliedly barred by statute, while defects relating to territorial pecuniary jurisdiction can be waived off if no failure of justice is shown. Section 21 CPC lack of subject matter jurisdiction goes to the root of the matter and renders the decree a nullity. Thus, territorial jurisdiction controls place, pecuniary jurisdiction controls its value, subject matter jurisdiction controls the type of dispute a court can adjudicate. Conclusion: jurisdiction is not the technicality, it is the foundation of judicial power. Territorial jurisdiction ensures geographical fairness, pecuniary jurisdiction ensures administrative efficiency, subject matter jurisdiction ensures institutional competence.